Oh hey, it's Wes, and I have a lot of antennas and wires on my desk. Why is that? Well, I'm going to take a look at a new transmission system, the Accsoon Cineview SE. Now, previous to this, I have been using the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro, which, honestly, we have a fairly similar design aesthetic here. Very rugged, industrial, utilitarian, all very heavy, thick metal. Well, not super heavy, it's aluminum. Once you slap a battery on there, it gets pretty heavy though. But as you can see, we have more antennas, and more is better, right? Well, let's find out. First, we're gonna have a look at the build quality here. As I said before, this is all a solid metal construction. These antennas are also very rigid. They screw on though, and screw off. It's just a standard connector for an antenna. And the reason we have 4 antennas instead of 2 is that we have a dual band system here. What we've added with the Cineview here actually is the 2.4 gig spectrum. What does that do for us? Well, 2.4 isn't as good for transmitting video as 5 gigahertz, but what it does is it gives you much greater range. So let's do a range test and see how we do here. And we're using our Accsoon SeeMo to take the signal from the Cineview and send it into my phone. As you can see, I am even in this image right here. So we can take this on the road and see what kind of a quality we're going to produce. I'll start recording here. And as of right now, this is going to be very hard to see. Yeah, that blinky screen is too much. We're showing full signal strength in 2.4 and in 5G. Or 5 gig. Not the same as 5G. Don't get them confused, please. And then over here, we have our transmitter. It's actually being externally powered. Currently, it is using 4.2 watts of power, which is less than the Hollyland system I used. Let's take this on the road here. Let's see if we can get a little bit Christmassy up in this place. Okay, now we're looking at our bands. And we still have 3 full bars on both sides. How's our recording looking? Is it sharp? I think it is. Now where do we go? Oh, I'm not gonna like this. It's gonna be cold outside. Now we're out on the porch. And our reception is still showing full reception. Okay, I do not have an ND filter on here. So our shutter speeds are going to get completely off the handle. All right, now we're outside and we still have full 3 bars. My phone ran out of storage space. I guess that there is a disadvantage for using the maximum bitrate. Now we are out in the playground. It still says that I have full signal strength. Has this changed any? No, it has not. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I didn't expect that I would be going this far. All right, let's try to sync this up again. 2, 3, boop. All right, we're recording again. I don't really see how this kind of signal strength is necessary. I wasn't expecting to go outside today. Across the street, and now hiding behind, oh, I lost my signal. There we go. So, as soon as I step behind this brick building right here and completely lose line of sight with my house is way down there. Okay, that was preposterous. So I am 100 meters away from my house, and then I have to step behind a cinder block solid structure for the signal to drop. Why? Let's try something else here. So in our fun little setup here, I'm actually powering my transmitter through the 5-volt output on the SeeMo. So the SeeMo has the big battery, it's powering my transmitter, sending the signal into my phone. So that my phone is a fantastic outdoor monitor, because this is bright. And as such, when I took this thing outside, it was super easy to see whether or not it was still working. Much easier than a lot of other things. Let's switch this up a little bit. We're going to go into iPad mode. We are 2 rooms over. We have built-in transmission mode being used here, our lovely receiver device. We are also using the iPad Wi-Fi transmission. So this is sending 2 things at once now. So I'm going to leave my phone and this transmission doohickey behind. It's still going to be hooked up. And let's start recording that. Beep. We seem to still be getting the same artifacting on our display here, but it appears to just be the LUT that's baked into this is kind of poor. But when you look at the actual recording that it's producing, it doesn't look quite that bad. The colors that are close to blown out look awful. But that appears to just be a monitoring issue. Now we're outside the house again. Still doing great. Oh, things are getting weird. I didn't quite expect this to last as far as the dedicated device because number 1, the antennas in the iPad aren't like sticking up out all over the place. And number 2, Wi-Fi it's an open standard. It's not their proprietary thing, but it is using the same transmission antennas. So I lost a little bit of signal when I got out to the playground here, not even inside the building anymore. Let's see if we can take it all the way across the street again. Okay, we are getting around the corner of the church again. I have 1 bar of Wi-Fi now. So the signal strength appears to be pretty much identical. I wasn't really expecting that. So I had to get, again, almost 100 meters away, outside of the building, on the other side of another building. So yeah, if you're in a studio setup and you're not really going places, obviously this is going to be rock solid. That was way further than I thought it was going to be, and that was incredibly cold. Other features that we have here, we have an external power in here. You can put anywhere from 7.4 to 16.8 volts. That's fantastically versatile. You can move up to 16 channels on its own band. Plus, you know, you can connect a Wi-Fi device to this, an iPad, an iPhone, way easier in many ways because you have less wires to deal with. And can be super convenient, say on a client shoot or something, just fire up an iPad and have an extra monitor going there. One great thing that I like about this is on a lot of devices you get a 5-volt in, especially if it's a lower powered device. It's not actually compatible with the USB-C standards, which is just wild. So if you take this Hollyland device and plug a USB-C to C cable onto it, it's probably not going to receive any power. You're going to be using an A to C so that it's not doing the whole power delivery handshake. Boy, is that annoying. This one, however, is fully compatible with the whole USB-C power delivery, so almost anything at all, you plug USB-C to C or A to C into this, it's going to power it. And I love that. I love things that make my life simpler, because I have on a few occasions shown up at a job and tried to power the Hollyland device and plugged it in and it just wouldn't work. Like the Hollyland, we also have SDI out and HDMI out, so you can send your video however you want. You'll notice that I have a tiny little battery on here because I found while I was using this that I was getting better battery life than expected. So we'll take some measurements. I'm all about measurements. This is what a lot of people are not including in reviews. With the Wi-Fi turned off, the receiver uses 3 watts of power and the transmitter bounces between 4 and 7 watts. That's because it's a packet-based transmission system. On the Hollyland device, the receiver is almost always using 6 watts. So here's our receiver, here's my tiny battery. So this receiver is using about half as much power. Obviously an updated chipset of some kind, far more efficient. Now if we go to the transmitter, it doesn't really matter if you have the Wi-Fi turned on or off, you're still using 4 to 7 watts. But if you don't use the receiver and you just go straight to an iPad, you suddenly lose about 2 watts off that, so 4 to 5 watts of power usage. Again, that's super efficient. Overall, this Accsoon is using less power, and that's great. Less power is less batteries, either using smaller batteries in the field or not having to bring extra batteries or change them as often. That's fantastic. But is that affecting our signal strength? So I have the transmitter placed very close to my router, and as you can see, it has chosen a spectrum that my router is not occupying. It's not using quite as much power as my router is, for transmission, but it is pretty close. So it is putting out some juice at 2.4 gigahertz. And again, the Hollyland does not use 2.4 gigahertz. And if we go up to 5 gigahertz, wow, it's actually outputting more power than my router in the 5 gigahertz range. Now, one issue I did have with this, upon startup, it chose to use the exact same channel as my router. There is nothing else going on in this 5 gig spectrum. It took 5 to 10 minutes for it to decide, hey, this is the only congested piece of network space in here. Maybe I should swap channels. Whereas the Hollyland just did not start up on the 5 gig. But as you can see, although it is efficient, it is pumping out some serious wireless power. What are we looking at in terms of image quality? Well, it's not fantastic. You wouldn't want to use this for your actual recording because it is highly compressing the information, sending it through the wireless medium. If you want to actually get a high quality recording, you want to have something that's recording directly attached to your camera. How is our lag? Well, you probably already have a pretty good idea of that right now because this is my overhead shot and you can see it moving back and forth here. So that's our lag. Now in the past, everyone was using the Ninja Star because it was something very small that you could easily attach to your camera, and for some reason Atomos discontinued that, even though it was very popular, at least with YouTubers. This is the Accsoon SeeMo. So the SeeMo is plugged in to the output of my receiver. So you wouldn't normally want to do this because we already have the degraded signal quality, but I wanted to get everything down onto my desk here. And with the SeeMo, you can mount your phone on top of your camera, use this beautiful 2000 nit display that is on this phone. It's not turned up all the way right now. This is a crazy bright display. It is small, it is compact, has much better battery life than most external displays do, and with the SeeMo, you've got the video going into your iPhone. I can just press record on this and record what my phone is receiving from the camera. But the great advantage here is you can record the menu system that is coming out of your camera. So you don't need the Atomos Ninja Star anymore. You can just use this teeny tiny little rig right here. Because this is very small, very power efficient, you can put a very small battery on this and it will work fantastically well and last quite a long time. And if you want, you can put a big battery on it and power other devices with the USB-C power output. On the bottom here, you got your quarter 20, so you can mount that on a tripod if you want. And on the top, you've got a cold shoe. Very versatile. There are Android and iOS variants, so you want to make sure you get the right one. This one is the one that came out later that is specifically for iOS. And it comes with this USB-C to Lightning cable that will get you to where you need to be. If you need to send video, whether in a professional, reliable capacity like the Cineview SE that will fire it right across the neighborhood, or if you just want to show some video on your phone using the equipment that you already have on the cheap, this costs less than the Atomos Ninja Star and in many ways is more versatile because it lets you monitor while recording, whereas the Ninja Star didn't do that. Accsoon has got you covered. If you have any questions about this or want to pick one of these up, I've got links down in the description below. But until next time, let's go take some photos and make some videos.